So mastering AI part 3, other things to be aware of. Now there are quite a few other things that we need to look at. It's not just a simple case of prompting and off you go. So what if I don't want to use ChatGPT? That's fine. There's lots of other alternatives out there. In the cloud, you can have Anthropic's Claude, OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Perplexity. There's a myriad of them. There's more and more coming on board each day. You've also got self-hosted platforms like Mistral or Mixtral, and numerous open source ones that you can download to your own server, so you don't need to go online. That's important if you want to keep your data private, because it's then yours. So open source options, there's loads of these: GPT-J, GPT-Neo, GPT-Neo-X, GPT for all, Open Llama, which is a reproduction of Facebook's Meta Llama. And then a few based on Llama, like Mistral, Mixtral, Falcon, Vicuna, Alpaca. And the smaller lightweight ones that you can download, like Tiny Llama, Opt, Pythia, Dolly. Multilingual and specialised modes, so you might want use different languages, ethnic languages and stuff, and there's ChatGPT models that are dedicated to those things as well: Bloom, Zeb and Phoenix. And comparisons. All LLMs are tested against benchmarks, which test them against generic and specific tasks, so article writing, computer coding, reasoning. And, you know, it varies from time to time which are the best. So don't ask ChatGPT which are the best, because it always say it is. You know, just Google it for the latest comparisons online. Performance and ability is constantly evolving. So it's a race. ChatGPT produces a new model, it's better than anything, then Claude does, then Gemini does, blah, 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 blah. So just bearing in mind it's a moving feast. Now, OpenRoute is very interesting. I'm only mentioning it here really because you know, ChatGPT might be the best one at the moment, and in 6 months' time, Claude might be absolutely wiping the floor with it. And you might be thinking, well, I built this system using ChatGPT. Now I want to use Claude because it's better or it's cheaper. Well, if you use OpenRouter, all you have to do is just change the model. Everything else you built still works. So it's a very useful tool, this OpenRouter, if you're ever going to build anything. So let's just talk about AI ethics and the principles. So you've got transparency. AI decisions should be explainable and understandable. Are they fair? Is the bias in the AI itself and the data it's been trained upon? So you've got to ensure that AI treats all groups equitably. Privacy. Protect personal and sensitive data used by AI. You know, you are constrained by GDPR. You've got to use customer data for the purposes for which it was given to you. So accountability, organisations must be responsible for AI outcomes. So if you're using it to make decisions, you know, are you doing it in a responsible manner? Are you aware of why and how it's making these decisions? Safety and security. They should be secure and they should be reliable. AI injection is a hacking technique that we're seeing more and more of, and keeping your systems safe and secure. Some of it's just basic AI security, but there are other things you can do that you can expose yourself stupidly. And human oversight, keep humans in the loop for critical decisions, monitor what's going on. And sustainability, considering the environmental impact of AI operations. Are you using a hell of a lot of energy, basically? So those are your sort of ethics, your principles. You've also got ethics in business. Product development ensures AI-driven products are fair, safe and trusted. Customer trust, ethical AI practices to improve your brand reputation. Compliance, are the legal and regulatory compliance things to do with AI. Risk management, reduce chances of harm, bias or public backlash. Decision support, ensure AI-driven decisions align with company values. Innovation, encourage responsible and socially beneficial AI use. There's quite a lot there, really, in AI. And if you've also got GDPR in your business data, so never put data that can identify a customer into any AI that you do not control. You have no idea what it might be used for. And I think that's just something worth bearing in mind. Never put any business critical data into any AI for the same reason, because you could lose your intellectual property. So you've got to be very careful with what you actually feed into these things. Yes, you can use customer data, but only if it's business data. If it's private individuals, you should be very careful about putting it into AI and processing it with AI, unless you've got a customer's express permission to do so and you're using it for genuine reasons. So, there's a whole load of things you've got to be careful of here. I've got a different page on my website where it talks about AI compliance, and you can fill in a form on there with your business details and your market section, what you do, and it'll analyse your business, and then actually produce all the documents you need. And then you can read through those and correct them and just edit them until they do actually say what you want. And it's a quick route to actually producing the documents you need and give you some guidance as to what you need to be doing. So what is bias? LLMs produce responses based on training data. Imagine if the only training data used was Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler or Das Kapital by Karl Marx. It's very easy to see how an LLM would produce two completely different answers based on its training data. Now, large companies do their best to eliminate these, and if you're working on something that bucks the trend, you might find the LLM working against you. So bias is inherent in them, and you've just got to be a bit careful. Validating truth and research. Now, I always say this, if you employ a 16-year-old, you're not going to rely on everything that 16-year-old tells you. Go and do this and come back and you look at the research, you might not have done it properly, you might not have understood what you meant, and you need to coerce them and train them. And AI is a little bit like that. If you ask ChatGPT how many followers Tottenham Hotspur have on TikTok, ChatGPT could get its reply from anywhere. It could be a report written in a news article. That might be last week, or it might be 10 years ago. A discussion in a forum. It could have picked it up from there. ChatGPT gets a lot of information from Reddit. Tottenham Hotspur's TikTok account. Actually go directly to you've no idea how ChatGPT's got this. So you've always got to validate your facts when you're doing research separately. If you're going to rely on them for creating more specific prompts, asking other LLMs or doing your own research. So it might be more, if you prompt said, ask ChatGPT how many followers Tottenham Hotspur have on TikTok, please refer to Tottenham Hotspur's TikTok account to get this information. So you've got to think a bit more about how you're asking for stuff and where you're asking it from to give it some sort of credibility. So applications, website, web apps, mobile phone apps and stuff. This whole thing is just, AI can produce apps for you. Web applications, websites, mobile phone applications, full-blown software. It can do the lot. So there's this thing called vibe coding, and the two leading companies are Replit and Lovable. Basically, you write a prompt and you refine what they produce with more prompts until you're happy with what you've got. It's ideal for producing an MVP, which is a minimum viable product. So just to test the water that something's done, that something will work. But the problem with it is it's difficult to develop into full-blown applications and it's difficult to maintain. Because what Replit and Lovable do is they'll produce it for you, and then you think, it doesn't do that. So you ask it to do that, and it changes a whole load of stuff that you didn't ask it to change. And so actually narrowing it down and getting it to where you want it to be with something complicated can be very difficult. If it's a very easy idea, they do it very quickly. But they will produce these things for you very quickly. That's Replit and Lovable. And again, look at my rapid, accurate prompting method to produce the prompts for this before you start, and you'll get a better response first time. Now, the next big thing is Base 44, written by an Israeli guy. He started in January 2025, launched it in about July 2025. He was autistic, worked on it night and day, and he flogged it for 80 million quid or 80 billion quid or whatever. 80 million quid, I think it was, that he sold it for. It's a much better version of vibe coding. It's much better than Replit or Lovable, but it's still a sort of vibe coding thing, the same idea. If you're going to produce an application, start with the Base 44 rather than Replit or Lovable. There's this other thing called BMAD, written by an American called Brian Madder, and it's a full agile AI-driven system for making applications. And I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but 8 AI agents do all the work for you, from your initial idea all the way through to your testing and building it and job done. So there are some really fantastic solutions out there, and these are going to bring down the cost of producing apps dramatically. You know, what cost £10,000 a few years ago is going to cost about 500 quid. And finally, your next steps. See what you can do with detailed prompts. Start using AI to provide answers to complicated tasks and questions you have. Quickly go from a brain dump to a comprehensive, detailed output using my rapid, accurate prompting method. See what you can do with projects. Identify repeatable tasks that take lots of time. Consider how a detailed prompt in a project can speed up and improve the way you do these tasks. This is what you should be doing after this course. Just concentrate on those two things. Use my rapid, accurate prompting method to turn something simple into something complex, and then execute the prompt to get the results. And again, start looking at projects and how you can sort of semi-automate repeatable tasks. Now, what AI can do for you is only limited by your imagination. And I genuinely mean that. There's so much it can do. I've given you some examples in business here. And if you are a businessman, you run your business, you should have loads of ideas now about what you can do and how you can do it. But just get practicing and start. Now, the next course is I've got an AI first course. In this course, we'll look at how to redesign your business process from an AI perspective so you can automate with AI and spend your time focusing on your customers and building your business. The automation course is we show you simple automations you can build yourself, AI chatbots, AI agents using Make.com, Pipedream and N8N. Very simple that you can do, but get your head around prompting and projects first so you actually realise how you can implement these things and what they can actually do for you. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching.